Well, hey, how are you doing today? I trust and hope that life is treating you well. Hope that you have been enjoying the videos for this 16 video series I'm doing on Who's Your Baggage, Releasing the Dead Weight. I am talking about what I refer to as bricks of life that tend to weigh us down as we're carrying them around, that keeps us from stepping out and getting from a stagnant state to a more productive state. And hopefully, you have been enjoying the videos. If you've been watching, you've got some tools and some nuggets to move forward. But today, we are going to talk about depression. So, this will probably be the shortest video that I do because there are so many different facets to depression. And I want to offer this disclaimer that I am not a therapist. And if you are experiencing depression and your depression is leading you to harm yourself or others, then I encourage you to seek help through a therapist so that they can get you on the right path to healing. So I'm just going to kind of share a couple of things, excuse me, that I found online, and I just want to kind of give you a couple of points of depression because depression is really just a low state, a low energy, a mood of not doing anything, and I believe that we all hit some points or some facet of depression in our life, and some of us move from it more quickly than others, and then there's some others who just do not have the tools or the wherewithal or the know-how to come out of it. And I believe, this is my own personal opinion, I believe that people who are depressed, who are experiencing severe depression, I believe they want to come from up under it, and they just don't know how. And it's important for those of us who are around people who may be experiencing depression that we're very sensitive to it. I will be very transparent. I love being transparent because you know what? People love transparent stories. It's because they love to know other people's business. So first of all, I'm going to say, if you or someone you know that they are experiencing this, I am not minimizing your experience with this conversation. I am just, my goal is to help to offer a perspective on how to process through, even if the perspective is picking up the phone and calling someone for help. So I recall years ago, it was over 15 years ago, I had a hysterectomy. And I had this book. There was this site, if you're watching this and you or someone you know is having a hysterectomy, there's a site called hystersisters.com, and they absolutely helped me navigate and understand what I was getting ready to go through, because women, we have to understand that when we move an organ like that out of our body, it's going to cause some changes. And while the book and the website helped me to understand leading up to and during and then a little bit after, I did not realize that the mental and emotional experience that I was going to have. And I'm going to read these couple of different types of short-term depression. Situational depression, which is directly linked to a traumatic event. And this is straight off of Google. These are not my words. Then there's seasonal affective disorder, where your mood changes based off of the season. I didn't even know that was a thing, but I can believe it because I believe I have experienced that at times. Perinatal depression, and this occurs during pregnancy or after childbirth. Premenstrual dysphoric disorder, severe PMS that occurs in weeks before menstruation, or perimenopausal depression, depression that affects some women during transition to menopause. And so I believe that my situation maybe falls in the last one, but I noticed that after, weeks after I had my hysterectomy, that I just noticed my body was feeling different. Like there was just so many things, these emotions, I can't even describe them, that I was feeling. And I was like, man, I don't understand. Why am I feeling this way? Why am I thinking this way? Why am I just down? And I reached out to my doctor, and of course, he prescribed, a form of antidepressant, um, medicine, which, for me, this is my personal thing. This has nothing to do with anyone else's decision, is that I just did not want to take anything. But here again, as I stated, if you've watched the video that I did on grief, is knowing when you need outside help. And sometimes you have to take that outside help. So regardless of how I felt about those type of medicines, I knew that they would be able to possibly help me to get me on a trajectory where I can find other solutions. And so he prescribed this prescription to me, and I swear it was a little tiny pill. It was probably bigger than a pinhead, a little bit, maybe 3 times bigger than a pinhead. And I took this pill, and I absolutely did not like how it was making me feel. I can't even describe what that feeling was. And I was like, no, I'm not liking how I'm feeling. So called my doctor again, and he says, and this was only a 5 milligram capsule. He told me to cut it in half. So I cut it in half, and it still just wasn't working. And I was just feeling horrible. I can't describe it. I just really can't describe it. And people who have experienced depression, we all, and I'm saying we because I've experienced it, we've all had this happen, and we can't seem to figure it out. And for me, I just started diving deep into natural herbal supplements. And this procedure happened in 2009. And I believe it was almost 5 years later before I was able to figure out what was going on and how to move myself beyond another, to a new trajectory and path of life. I think I took that prescription maybe like for less than a week, and I said, I can't do this. But I did start seeking out and trying to get some help and figuring out what to do. There are situations in life that happen that cause us to be depressed, things that we can't help and we don't have any control over. And so it's up to you and your support system to help you to navigate that. Because one of the things I want to say is, please do not feel that you have to go through a situation alone. Find people that you trust. Again, a therapist, your religious support, your spiritual support, friends and family, find that. And whether I mentioned, whether it's short-term or long-term depression, there is help. And one of the things I do want to point out, it says some tips for managing is eating healthy, because there are some foods that really trigger our brain, because everything is happening here. So there are things that we're eating, there are chemicals, especially for a woman during hormonal process. Our body goes through changes, and there are certain things that we put in our body that may have an adverse effect to that may cause, an outward type experience. So that I'm a big supporter of paying attention to what you eat. Now, first, let me just give this disclaimer. I am not the world's healthiest eater. I ain't even nowhere near the world's, nowhere near my city's healthiest eater or my household's healthiest eater. But I do understand how diet can impact us emotionally and mentally and physically. Exercise, sometimes when you get out and you kind of move and do things, and being outside and outdoors gives you the opportunity to talk out loud. You can walk and cry. You can walk and ask questions. Getting out in nature, especially, is really good. So, those are some short-term, and staying connected. Stay connected with the people that you love and trust, because I cannot begin to say this enough, that talking it out, because I remember going through a life-changing situation. Was it later than no, it was early in 2009 that I isolated myself, because I felt like I couldn't talk to people. I didn't want to talk to people. I was ashamed. And so we isolate and we reason with ourselves, and that's not really good. So stay connected. And then finally, get help. If you're feeling like you want to self-harm or harm others, then you can get help, on the suicide and crisis line, which is 988 or 800-273-TALK. So definitely, my thought and the purpose of this conversation is that we don't have to stay there. Like we don't have to stay in that place. And there is help. There are resources. And I'm hoping that this conversation, I know that I did not cure depression or minimize, get rid of whatever you're dealing with. I'm hoping that the conversation I'm having said, hey, you know what? I do need to get help. I do need to could stay connected with my friends and family. These are some things I need to do. So if you did that, then hey, this video has done its purpose. So I'm trusting that you have gained something from this. Please do like and share and subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any notifications of when new videos come up. You can find me on social media platforms under Miss Straight Talk, No Sugar Added, on Miss Straight Talk. And my website is bestraightup.com. So I'm looking forward to hearing your comments, and please share share how you may have gotten through and what you have done, because they may see your comment, someone may see your comment, and that may be the support that they need. So be sure to do that and share with at least 5 to 10 of your friends. So take care. Bye bye.